Hi there. I've just had one of my arms removed and it's been replaced with this. I use that to pick up my records and put them on the record player. Yeah. Hello, everybody. 3 groundbreaking albums I love. In chronological order. And at the end of this picture movie thing I'm making, I'll explain one thing they all have in common, apart from being just sheer brilliant albums and all, just influential. They also have another thing in common. Now this is, I've been watching a lot of the Bob, dear old Bob's turned 80 this week. Blonde on Blonde is, some people say Blonde on Blonde, and some people say whatever is the best. And I always wondered what Blonde on Blonde meant, and one day I worked it out. It's meaningless, but if you take the letters of Blonde on Blonde, you have B-O-B, Bob. So, hi everyone, it's me, and that's my theory anyway. So, yeah, dear old Bob. He turned 80. He's probably put out 80 albums, and only 3 or 4 of them are any good at all. Yeah, the last one I bought of his was that live album after Blood on the Tracks, the one with Idiot Wind on it. It was pretty good, but I gave up. I gave up after that. I must admit, I listened to Bob Dylan long before the Beatles came along, before the Stones. My friend had a copy of the first 2 Bob Dylan albums, I do believe, and we used to come home from primary school and play them while we read Mad magazine. So we were like, oh gee, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, and we were really into Bob Dylan. No one had even heard of the Beatles at that stage. And then the Stones came along a little bit later. So until Revolver, really, my world was Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones. I mean, they were it. No doubt about it. The Beatles barely mattered at all. Anyway, waffling. So I'm going to show, I've always considered Highway 61 Revisited Bob's best album and probably my favourite album of all time. That was all my life I had that, because it's got like a Rolling Stone on it. It's just, it changed everything. My God. That album, like Highway 61 Revisited by Bob Dylan, changed everything. It changed everything. The Beatles, the Stones, they all lifted their game 1,000%. And then I thought maybe Blonde on Blonde's better, but no, honestly, at the age of 70, I'm just a youngster, compared with Bob. This is a reissue I got 10 years ago. Very heavyweight vinyl. Yes, at the age of 70, I've decided that, in my opinion, the best Bob Dylan album of all time is not Highway 61 Revisited, even though it's a sentimental favourite and it was the most influential album he ever made. I believe it's the one before that. Bringing It All Back Home. I do have an original stereo I bought at the time, but this is a mono mix. It sounds terrific. Some of the tracks on this in mono are so much better than stereo. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But I better hurry up. Now, just listen to the track listing on this. I mean, before this, he had, 4 or 5 albums before this. And yeah, they're mostly covers, and with the occasional hit type song on it, you know, blowing wind out my ass, and look, darling, and a hard rain's gonna fall, all that stuff. But listen to the track listing on this. Side 1, Subterranean Homesick Blues, She Belongs to Me, Maggie's Farm, Love Miners Zero, No Limit, Outlaw Blues, On the Road Again, Bob Dylan's 115th Dream. Side 2, Mr. Tambourine Man, Gates of Eden, It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Mate, what a list of tracks, every one a gem. Unbelievable. So I can say at my age, after having been a huge Dylan fan at the age of 9 or 10, and then carrying on through till the last one I really loved, which was Nashville Skyline, and then, you know, a couple in the 70s. So, I mean, you know, I was in the Dylan from 1962 to 1969, so that's a long stretch. Here we go. So the next album that comes along that was hugely influential, groundbreaking, and is, for many years, I considered Harvest his best, because I just love that album beyond belief. But in truth, and I think most people agree with this now, there's no doubt about it, this is my original. After the Gold Rush. Tell Me Why, After the Gold Rush, Only Love Can Break Your Heart. Oh man. Southern Man, Till the Morning Comes. Side 2, Oh Lonesome Me, a cover, but by golly, it's great. Don't Let It Bring You Down, Words, When You Dance I Can Really Love, I Believe in You, and Cripple Creek Ferry. Ah, man. What can you say? That's definitely Neil Young's best album. You know, I mean, After the Gold Rush is a bit more sophisticated, sort of. But I don't know. My sentimental favourites After the Gold Rush, and my sentimental favourite of Bob Dylan is Highway 61. But really, Bob's best album was the one before Highway 61, and Neil's was the one before Harvest. And another hugely influential album, massively influential. Original copy of the Ramones. And this one's been played a heck of a lot, I can assure you. Even got the lyrics. Yeah, so what can I say? That's the Ramones first and their best. I've got every Ramones album ever made up until the last 2 or 3, which were just rubbish basically. But I love them all, but this one is just so important. I'll never forget when this came out. It was in the nightmarish years where ELP and all those Yes and all that shit, those ghastly bands, and whatever spark they'd had in the 72, 73, by 75, 76, 77, those bands were so bloated. Even Procol Harum was turning to rubbish. This was the best thing to happen. Man, the best thing. I love them. Rest in peace, Johnny, Joey, Marky, and Dee Dee. Not Marky, sorry, Tommy. Johnny, Tommy, Joey, Dee Dee, all gone. I mean, for God's sake, bloody Joey and Johnny have been gone nearly 20 years. They were the same age as me. They died in their early 50s. Yeah, can't believe it. And Bob's 80. All right, the last thing I'm going to say is running out of time as usual. What have they all got in common? Okay. And it just dawned on me today. I was just thinking about these albums. I thought there's something, and of course, Subterranean Homesick Blues, track 1, side 1. You know, the electrified Bob introduces himself to the world. And the first line in the song is Johnny's in the basement. Could be Johnny Ramone in the basement. After the Gold Rush, there's a song here. I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it's After the Gold Rush itself. It's one of the songs on here where he says, I woke up in a burning basement. Something like that. Don't quote me. They're not necessarily the exact words. That's not necessarily the song. And then the Ramones, I don't want to go down to the basement. Yes. Bob, Neil and the Ramones on their best albums, right? These are definitely their best albums. I don't care what anyone thinks. You know, you argue with me, I'll stick this up your bloody nostrils and rip your brain out. They all contain the word basement. Yes, so anyway, look, Pussy's having a little, doing one of those little things. There you go. Bye now.